Hey there.
Hello.
Welcome back to Wicked Honest
True Crime Fridays, episode 4.
episode 4. Here we are. We're going to get right into it quicker than we've been because we've been.
We're never going to get right into it, but we're going to try
I'm
to
a
be quick.
stammerer and it needs to stop. So
Mm.
we got some good editing software, so that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
But we're going to get right into it. We talk a lot about what we're going to talk about. We're not going to do that this time.
Yeah, we're just going to talk about it.
We're going to just get in. I'm Dianne. That's Keri.
I'm Keri.
And we are talking about the brutal murder of Su Taraskiewicz, a North Shore girl from Saugus, Logan Airport, Boston's Logan Airport worker, Northwest Airlines, that was found in September 1992 in the trunk of her car, brutally beaten and slain.
Yeah.
So I want to do a little disclaimer real quick. There's one in the show notes too, that we are not law enforcement. We are not stating anyone committed this crime. We are just in real time doing investigative journalism, for lack of a better word, investigative reporting. I'm writing a book on this case, and I'm working with 2 police officers that are helping me along, giving me a lot of information, and I'm writing the book. And this case has always been just a real thorn in the side for the North Shore and a real stain on the community, I think, as a whole. It's always stuck with me as seeing Sue's face on a billboard, and I never forgot her. So I have the honor of doing this. You jumped on and I dragged you into it. But Mass State Police, if you have any information, it's still an open case.
Cold case right now.
Cold case, still active. And please contact them if you have any information, and a banner will soon come across the screen giving you the phone number. Any other information you want to share with us, make any corrections, anything, any information you have for the show, we would love that.
Yeah.
I'd love to do like a call-in too one day or something like that if we ever did a live, because I think people are interested. I know they are. There's a lot of people have a ton of questions. This has haunted the community forever. And I did just want to say, I've reached out to Mass State Police 5 times and left messages with the desk and the lead detective. I wanted to let them know what I'm doing, and I have not gotten a response. And that it was important for me to do that because I don't want to anything that we're finding out. I don't want to
Hinder the investigation in any
hinder
way.
investigation, report on things that should remain close to the vest.
Right.
But I have not heard back, so I can only do what I can do and inform my own judgments. And we have our own sources. I have confidential sources. We are speaking with lots of people. A lot of them still are afraid to this day and want to remain anonymous, and I understand.
Yep.
And those that are brave enough to have come forward and say their names, we will share with permission.
Or anything that's in a court document already, court filings
Yeah.
that are already public.
Names we mention are already out in the public, and some names, if not, will be changed.
Yep.
If you want to support the show too, we are boots on the ground, talking to people, buying lunches, buying cigarettes, whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yeah.
There is a
link in the bio or the show
link
notes.
in the show notes.
The show notes that you can support.
And once a month, we're also
yeah, we're gonna do, if you are a new subscriber, if you watch and like an episode after you subscribe and comment, you'll automatically be entered to win a drawing that we're going to do monthly. Right now it's Dunk's gift cards. That's what it is for now. So
Wicked Boston, Dunkin' Donuts.
yeah.
Get your
So
Dunks.
if you are a new subscriber to the channel, definitely like the video, pick a video, any video that you've watched, like it, and then give us a comment on there and you'll automatically be entered to win. We'll make those announcements monthly.
And let's get more traction on this case. This case, Sue deserves justice. Her family deserves justice. So the more you share this and talk about it, get it out there, it's gonna possibly could help.
Yep.
So let's do it. So
Okay.
let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So I'm going to go through a little bit of a rundown like I did, I think, the last episode, just so we can kind of figure out where we were at. And then Diane's going to jump in if I make any mistakes, because I'm learning this along with you. She knows a lot more than me. So hopefully I'm asking all the questions that you guys might want to know, but you can always drop questions again in the comments and stuff, and we can answer them. So Su Taraskiewicz she was 28. 27.
27. Yeah.
She was 27 years old when she passed away. That was in 1992.
Yeah.
She started working at Logan Airport at Northwest in 1989. She was in a predominantly male role. She was in baggage claims,
Baggage ramp.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different names.
Mostly men, not very many women in that role. She was pretty much she was very by the book. She was kind of one of those sticklers for the rules types things. And she started getting a fair amount of harassment
As a lot of the women did. Well, the few women that were there.
that worked there. Yeah. So she was overlooked for a supervisory role at one point. She filed a grievance. She did end up getting that job. I will say though, once she got it, she ended up in charge of cleaning toilets and things like that. So she got it, but not
Yeah.
without what seemed like retributionary kind of things
It would
happening.
appear so.
Yeah, she was keeping a diary for about the last 8 months that she worked there because
The
things had
first
got.
8 months.
Oh, it was the first 8
Yeah, the
months?
harassment seemed to start quick.
Right away. Okay, so she was keeping a
That's not
diary of
good.
the harassment. So that's just of note because we talked about that. And we're going to revisit that. So she was keeping a diary of the harassment at home. Her family was unaware that this was going on at the actual current time that it was going on. There was a couple other things going on in her life at that time. She was getting into a brand new church, the Church of Christ.
Yeah.
That was a new thing that she was getting into. There was also a huge credit card ring.
Credit card fraud.
Ring.
Yes.
Right. Is that what basically it's called? Happening at the
They were
airport.
stealing credit cards off the planes.
Yeah. And this was huge, upwards $7.2 million. And that's
37 people, 10 who were in baggage.
and that is $7.2 million. You have to think about this in terms of 1992, not,
And it
not
stretched out across the
2026.
state.
Yes, it's and it also crossed state
Yeah,
lines
across
at
state
some
lines.
points. Things were getting a little sticky with that. People were starting to get questioned about that. And as I said before, Sue was pretty by the book. She was a supervisor. You know, some of the guys that are harassing her that she's now filed grievances against and stuff. There's some bad blood there a little bit. Probably not the biggest person to trust if you're them.
Yeah, the heat
with a
was
credit
on.
card
Who
ring.
do you think's talking?
Yeah. I mean,
Likely could be.
right, you could narrow it down. Goes into work on September 13th of 1992. She's working the
September
night shift.
12th leading into the.
Oh crap.
Well, 11
Doing
to
so
7.
good.
11 to 7. So
All
she
right,
goes
yes,
in the 12th, an hour later, returns to 13.
So I was right.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
anyways, she's working 11 to 7. She gets picked or asked to go pick up lunch, which happens at like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Which was kind of an odd thing for her. She was a supervisor, so I don't think she did that all that often. But either way, she gets a phone call. It's somewhere that she got a phone call. It's not 100%
It's a
factual
multiple report. She got a phone call before
before
she
leaving.
did this.
Yeah.
And no one knows who.
No one knows who it was, right? It's landlines. It's 1992, don't forget. So she leaves. She goes to Beachmont Roast Beef, which is where she's picking up all of the food. She never arrives at Beachmont Roast Beef and she's never seen again. She never arrives back at work. Instead of reporting it to someone, her coworkers actually punch her out, which always bothers me, in the morning, and everybody just kind of goes on their daily life. Again, there's no cell phones, there's no social media, there's no immediate gratification access like there is now. So if someone kind of goes and does something, where do you call? I guess you call the house. If she's not home or nobody answers, what else do you do? So that's basically what happened. She missed a couple events. I think there's a word that she missed a baby shower the next day or something like that. When she did not show up for her sister's wedding dress shopping was when
Monday morning
was when a phone call was made to the police.
And at the same time, someone from the work was calling.
Yeah,
saying
someone
she
from the
hasn't
work.
showed up.
Right. So she hasn't shown up at work. Now that's unlike her. Again, she's a supervisor, the whole thing. She's by the book, generally shows up, good employee. She's not showing up to work. So they're about to call to report her missing. They're getting a phone call to say she hasn't been coming to work. And then at the same time that all this is going down, at the guy that was opening the auto body shop where her car was found calls the cops because there's some red liquid, which obviously ends up being blood, leaking from the trunk of the car. The police come, they open the car. Sue's body is in the trunk of her blue Toyota Tercel, which I
good
remember.
job.
And so that kind of all happened. She's not robbed. There was nothing missing, money in the car, things like that. She's not sexually assaulted, which obviously they must have investigated at the hospital or the morgue. So it's not an assault. It's not a robbery. There's a couple ideas. It's random. It's a boyfriend. They thought maybe a robbery, maybe a rape, something like that, but then that's ruled out. And then, so we left off with her relationship. So let's get started. Where were we? We talked about we talked about 2 people, right? Oh, we talked about,
So we
let's just a
we
quick-
glossed over everything that was going down at this time. We said the harassment,
credit card,
tons
right?
of
The church.
things with that. We're gonna dissect that, deep dive into that. The credit card ring, we're gonna do a deep dive into that. The church, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna start off with, we did already start off with the relationships, because isn't that who it usually
Yeah, that's
ends up being? I
Yeah.
mean, let's be honest, we're
Yeah.
not honest.
intimate relationships would be the first place you look,
Yeah.
outside of random.
And she's 27 years old. She's single. So we went through, she had a boyfriend, Mark, that worked at the airport. They were together for, I think, 2 years, and they seemed to have a decent relationship from what it was a lengthy, serious relationship. She had a few sort of dates or whatever you want to
some
call,
workplace,
you know,
attractions and things like that.
whatever.
Flingy type things. Yeah.
Flingy type things. From people at work, a couple of
Yep.
people at work. One of them, notably Robert Brooks, that is rumored that they had maybe a little thing, and he was heavily involved in
Or harassment.
the harassment and the credit
and the credit card ring.
Just-
Yep.
So then we have
Oh, sorry.
Al, that was also another serious relationship. He was an airport fueler. She got involved in the church, and that seemed to cause some strife.
Yeah, he didn't
in the
really
relationship.
love that.
He wasn't like feeling
Right.
this new church and this new really
Newfound way of life that she
like
had.
religious religion, very getting hardcore into her faith.
Yeah.
So then we have, so I want to just preface this by, obviously the people that are in the closest proximity to things, to her location, and then also to the time of her death,
Okay.
would make sense that you're going to look at the strongest in relationships.
Yep.
Relationship wise.
Mhm.
So there were 2, and there was another airport worker, Fred, that she had met years earlier. He started at the airport, I think in '86. And she had met him back when she started.
Okay.
And they had a bit of liked each other for a minute and made out, kissed a few times, things
Okay.
like that in the break room. And then he went off to the service, came back to the airport. And then there was also a John who he was a part of the church. And
He was not working. He did
He
not
did not
work
work
at the
at the
airport.
airport.
Okay.
so Fred was first, and then John. They overlap a little bit.
Yeah.
Proximity wise, though, we're going to discuss, John at the time of her death was in Texas.
Okay.
So
Like vacationing in Texas.
no, he
not
actually
living.
just moved there. He
Okay.
moved to Texas, but they were
Prior
still
to her
talking prior to her death.
Okay.
And we're going to get into John after, but I wanted to really state this because Fred was looked into very heavily because of what I just said. The proximity, he lives on the North Shore.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of a off and on,
And it was overlapping, so it was close
little
to
bit
the last one.
overlapping.
Yep.
Jeff and
So closest in time and closest in proximity.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's someone in if Fred, that doesn't make someone guilty.
No.
But I think we can understand why that person might be looked at
Yeah.
very strongly.
Yep.
As Fred worked at the airport. He worked as a freight house agent. I just already said he was an Army veteran, and he encountered Sue before going into the military. Came back to work at the airport. Sue was already getting, when she got into the church, Fred and her were still close. It seemed like they just had a couple of, it wasn't a relationship. It was sort of here and there. maybe
Dates and
kissed
kind
or
of, yeah,
whatever.
hanging out.
She invited him to Bible study at this church.
Okay.
And he went. And it's been said through multiple people, friends and people from the church that knew both of them. By all appearances, it seemed that he liked her a lot more than she liked him.
Okay.
Especially then she met and was really starting to like John.
Okay.
Fred has some discrepancies in his story, and he seemed very nervous. Who wouldn't be? The cops are coming to talk to you.
Right.
Your friend / dating,
Yeah.
whoever,
Crush,
is-
whatever you
is
call it. I mean, that's an immature word, but
murdered.
yeah.
all that. So that's a lot. So I mean, I'm never gonna. Who knows? People. When it's funny when you're doing this, when you're reading tons of reports for everybody. I don't know how they rule anyone out because everyone has discrepancies all over the place.
Yeah. And that's human nature too. I mean, you have to allow for human error and
Yeah.
nerves.
But I so feel for investigators because once they do that, it's a blip on the radar that now you have to go down a rabbit hole and dig deeper.
Right.
So initially, Fred described their relationship as non-romantic. And yeah, so that right there is sort of, and I guess I could see because they just made out a little bit and then it was
I
like
know,
not a
but
big,
that's
I don't know.
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It went a little bit above a friendship. It's
Well,
I guess
went
if
a
you don't
lot
want
above,
to be
it
looked
went
at.
a lot above our friendship because they were intimate. One or two
Yeah.
times. Okay, so
That's what I mean. So you kind of have to be like, okay, it wasn't a monogamous thing where we got together and made a commitment, but yeah, we hooked up a couple times and
and I shouldn't say I know that as fact. This is reported from friends that had said Sue had told them this.
okay.
And that can also be hearsay, but it would make sense. So he later recanted this when questioned and admitted that they had been intimate in late July or early August before her death.
Yeah.
So when
Okay.
someone says that at first and recants, it's already like red flags, ding, 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 like
Yeah.
that's, why
Yeah,
is he
yeah.
recanting this?
Meanwhile, it's probably it could just be like, I want nothing to do with this. We were just friends.
That's my after going, and I think it's irresponsible of me to probably make speculations in that regard, but I think having read so much of the reporting and documents and then spoken with other people now, I feel like that's sort of what was happening,
Yeah.
but we don't know.
Right.
And we can all, you guys feel free to comment what you think too.
Mm.
He later recanted that, and then he said they had previously kissed in the break room and in a car. It didn't seem like he really, well, he did say intimate, but then it seemed like he went back and forth, like a kiss or intimate, but her friends reported that she was intimate with him.
Okay.
And then Fred stated he last spoke with Sue 2 to 3 days before her murder. And that sort of tracks from a source that I have that did say that's true. The phone records did indicate that they actually spoke. But there was she had called him the night before she went into work of her murder. She had called him.
Okay.
And he was at a wedding, which we'll get into in a minute.
Okay.
So on September 12th, Saturday,
Mhm.
so we know Saturday, Sue's going to go into work at 11 o'clock. Fred went to a wedding and apparently he was working. I don't know what, it seemed like he worked the day shift or that day he was, because to go to this wedding, he left work, said he was sick. He wanted to go to this wedding.
Yeah.
And went and bought a suit on the way home, is what I'm told by my source. It's reported that. And I wanted to say that I did reach out to Fred if he wanted to speak, of course, and he politely declined and asked if we could respect his privacy. So absolutely understand that.
Mhm.
So it's been reported that he asked Sue to go to this wedding.
Okay.
And the wedding, it's odd because the wedding was of his neighbor the people across the street who rented a home or apartment from Fred's mother.
Okay.
And they were getting married in Ipswich. It was like at a VFW or something like that. It didn't seem like it was very formal. So Fred's parents asked if he could go.
Okay.
So I don't think he's formally invited.
Okay.
And they said he could go after them and bring a guest.
Okay.
And
He was B-list.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is.
So it said in reporting that I've seen, I don't see that he asked Sue to go, but I have been told this. There's been accounts from, I don't see it in reports. This has been verbal accounts from sources in a very reliable source.
Okay.
Let me wet my whistle here. I can't believe I just said that.
No, I can.
So they go to the wedding. Fred has 2 vehicles. He has a black truck and a motorcycle.
Okay.
So Fred drives, I think he drives his parents and a neighbor or someone else to the wedding. And after the wedding, I think it was a daytime wedding.
Okay.
So at dusk, he comes home and he changes clothes real quick. Now they're all going, a few of them are going up to it's called the Lee Speedway in New Hampshire for some races.
Yep.
And changes clothes, going up to the Lee Speedway. And he went with another neighbor across the street who drove, I believe, in his car, a small red vehicle up there. Fred, by his own account, said he was drinking all day heavily, is what I have been told.
Okay.
Witness accounts said...
Oh, right, because this is the night of the murder. This is his alibi. Oh, this is his whereabouts.
A little bit before. Let's say she was murdered, so she went missing about
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Right.
so this is
let's
previous.
say time of the murder is between 1 and
1 and where? Yeah, you don't know.
From the accounts that I have seen, and the some things I've read, they place her murder about 2 o'clock,
Okay.
something around
Okay.
there. So
So
that's,
this
I'm
is-
assuming
this is-
that's from the
the autopsy.
autopsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is him going to the speedway and been heavily drinking all day. This is the day prior to her murder, but not the day prior,
Evening.
but the evening
Evening.
of
Yeah.
her
So
murder.
now we're at the
Okay.
evening. So they're at the speedway. Other witnesses said he didn't appear intoxicated.
Well, you can drink all day and not appear
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
depending on your tolerance.
Neighbor said, in reporting from my source, the neighbor said that driving up there, they had a few beers in the car on the way up.
For few
Oh, the good old days.
roadies.
The good old days. I mean, people still do it, but
What?
yeah.
What?
There was no alcohol allowed in the speedway. So you gotta drink before you get there, I guess. But
That's stupid, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna go off on a tangent here. We don't have time. Go ahead.
so from reporting, Fred's drunk. Leaves during the race and goes in the car to take a nap.
Okay.
And then they leave. There's a beer on the way home. It's reported from my source.
Well, he took a nap. I mean,
Took a nap and then was sort of falling asleep again on the way home. But
Yeah.
this is a long time ago when we're getting reports, but this is as detailed as I think we could get. The couple across the street who he went with, the husband, they
Mhm.
got home about, it's different accounts, 11:30, 12, per Fred's parents when they were interviewed, and from my source states, and then the neighbor who drove with Fred said this.
okay.
So like 11:30, 12.
Okay. So he's home.
So Fred's home, and I guess the window from the neighbors, who we went with, is like right there, like
Well,
the
yeah,
sight
yeah,
line. It's like
yeah.
sort of right there. And they had.
This is Revere. Where does he live?
I'm just
do
gonna
we
say
know?
the North Shore. Like he
Okay,
lives
so
up
somewhere in
on the north,
yeah. Okay.
a little bit further up on the North Shore,
Okay.
a lot quieter place. And they didn't see him leave or anything like that.
Okay.
And they were up for a little bit in the front room. They stayed. He said he went to his room above the garage and passed out. And he initially, and there's another discrepancy, which I don't love, that my source said that he could not have left the house or in using one of his vehicles because he had locked the keys the keys were locked in the main house.
Okay.
But then, which would be his parents' house.
Okay.
But then he later said he woke up about 4 a.m., threw up out the window, and then went to the main house, and got some aspirin. So that's a discrepancy. I thought you weren't,
You couldn't get the keys because they
in.
were locked at the house, but you could get in when you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So he was supposedly locked out, so he wouldn't have been able to access his keys, but now he's able to get aspirin.
Okay.
And then he says, oh, I guess there was a spare key, and then he recants this and says, yeah, I guess I could have, blah, 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 whatever.
Okay.
Then the Sunday's timeline, he would normally go to church. Oh, his mother, Sue, had called, as I had said. She had called him. And then it's of mention that, where is it? At the,
She called him before she went into work,
she called, yeah.
like to see how the wedding was or something like that.
Who knows? She called him, and then the mother ended up telling him later on Sue had called.
Oh, right, because the parents went home, and I'm thinking cell phones. No cell phones.
No cell phone.
No, she called the house.
Yeah, she called the house, and then, yeah, and don't forget it was a day wedding, so they came home. I'm not exactly sure what time that was. I thought it was like around 8 o'clock or something like that. And he didn't call, but I'll see her at church, because
Well, yeah.
they would see her at church the next day. It was Sunday, so he'd see her at services. She left a call. Where am I at? Where am I at? Orienting myself. And see her at church. Fred's mother said well, the Monday after, so hang on, let's go back to Sunday. Fred shows up at church. By witness accounts, he's a bit late. Comes in, acts fine. No one said anything. He didn't act differently. He actually went out to lunch with another church member. Sue never came up, acted fine.
I mean, and he's late. He's hungover.
His mother said he didn't go to church that day by one account, but who knows? He's probably doing his own thing. People saw him at the church, so helped his dad, whatever. I think this was a real sticking point. One of the few things, just a couple of discrepancies, and I thought this was really of note. So they obviously something like this, they interview the people at the wedding, they interview the neighbors. There's a lot of people to interview. And then the wedding, apparently from my source, there was a guest book. And I guess he signed the guest book, which is incredibly odd for a wedding. He wrote,
Yeah.
signed his name and wrote, "No date, not fond of marriage." It's a little strange. And Sue apparently, like I said, was supposed to go to him,
With the wedding to
which
him.
we have heard from multiple reports. He invited her to go and she didn't go.
Yeah.
And he did say also to someone, I believe it was a church, he did say that one of their last conversations was an argument. But it was supposed to be the last time they talked was a couple days earlier. But he was supposedly felt bad about that. But that could mean, that could be anything.
Yeah.
But he felt bad about that.
Was
So
the argument about her not going to the wedding?
I don't know.
We don't know. Okay.
Well, he said the last time he talked to her was a few days before that wedding day. So I don't, which sort of makes no sense. How did he know? Maybe that's when she said she wasn't going to the wedding. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
definitely by many accounts, he wanted her to go to this wedding and she didn't go to the
Yeah.
wedding. And it didn't seem, I guess he wasn't happy about that. But again, I don't see that in reports. That's some people I've spoken with and
Yeah.
statements and in a my very reliable source, as I keep saying. I'll just say VRS, very reliable source. This I thought was really interesting. So the Monday after Sue's death, the neighbor that they went to the wedding with, he went to the Speedway with,
Yeah.
him and his wife were watching the news, the 12 o'clock news about Sue, the afternoon,
Why?
because they find her dead. She's missed. She's a
No,
woman's
but
missing.
why are they on the news about it?
No, they were watching the news.
Oh Jesus. Okay, sorry. I
And they
thought you were
called
saying
over. So people,
Yeah,
she,
they were watching.
she had only, a couple of people had thought like that was Fred's girlfriend. So
Yeah.
that was said in a few statements that I have
Yeah.
been privy to read.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he's saying it's his girlfriend.
Yeah.
and-
Or people see him with her a couple times here and there.
Apparently she was only at the house one time.
Well,
So
You never know. They could have been seen a million different places together. Who knows?
and this wasn't the church people. This was sort of like the neighbors and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So
So they see it on the
they
news.
see it on the news, and then
Well, they call
one of them called over to the house
Yeah.
and said, "Oh my God!" And then
That's how he found out.
the
is it?
mother said, and you heard Fred in the background said, "I have to get off the phone. I have to call the airport." And he called, and I guess he went. I'm not. It doesn't say what day, or it wasn't clear to me on what day, but he went over to Sue's family's house. He said he had something to tell them.
And-
That's what I'm told.
And what was it?
I don't know.
Okay.
His mother said he went over to Sue's family home to tell them something Sue had told him. So maybe
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah.
And Fred sort of denied ever knowing anything about what was going on at the airport, but per his mother's,
was he working
statement.
there at this
he
time?
was still working there, yeah.
Okay.
And his mother said Fred,
He wasn't in. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but he wasn't in that
he
department.
was in the freight house, so no.
A little bit
no,
different.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And it was, the mother had reported that Fred said he thought he was next to her, and he began taping his phone calls. So I found that was interesting. But then Fred later, he told investigators Sue never told him anything significant, but it sounded
Sounds like
was
something.
nervous about
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, and one of the witnesses said Fred mentioned Sue knew about a scam but never explained it. Someone that he spoke to, like a friend. And the only thing that the investigators asked if Sue had other boyfriends, Fred said she previously mentioned Al and another man from the church, and they did say, and he said he forgot his name. They said
Yeah.
John, and
Yeah.
then he said, "Oh yeah, that's the guy," and didn't provide any additional details. So there was and I touched on this last episode. There was a grand jury that did end up going out in '95.
Mhm.
We have the credit card and all that's happening in cases and grand juries and all that. But in '95, there was a grand jury about the murder.
So just to remind everybody that's not legalese, basically, is a grand jury, you have to be indicted by a grand jury in order for the prosecutor to continue to press charges on you. So say I commit a crime, they catch me, or someone commits a crime, I'm a good suspect for it. They catch me, they have enough to arrest me, they arrest me, and then I have to be indicted by a grand jury in order for the case
Yeah,
to move forward.
they think you did it. They have a good amount of what they feel is suspicion or evidence, and then that the grand jury convenes and
Indicts, once you're
It-
indicted, and then you are formally
you're
charged.
Yeah.
And then you go to trial to
And I guess this was and I brought this up in the last episode in the context of talking about one of the suspects of the case and one of the real person whose name comes up a ton in the harassment and the credit card ring is sort of initiating a lot of it is Joseph Nuzzo. And the grand jury wasn't about anyone specific. This was an investigative grand jury.
which is so strange because I've never heard, I mean, just like we just explained what a grand jury was, I don't have obviously that much experience with it, but I've only ever heard of a grand jury being against a person or people.
Yeah, I
I
didn't.
didn't know you could have
After I've been told this, I researched it and it is a thing. I mean, it's definitely a thing, and I didn't know that. We are going to have an attorney on the show to go over some things.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about what an investigative grand jury is because I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah, because it's just like, when do you just leave it to the grand jury to decide who to charge and give them a bunch of information?
And do you bring in a bunch of suspects? Do those
Mhm.
suspects know they're suspects? Like, what does that mean? That's something that I'd like to revisit.
I'm curious if you just have to, like, you don't have enough to convene a grand jury for this one person or something. And so you say it's an investigator, but you really sort of focus on this one person. I don't know.
Yeah.
When do you bring it? Well, we'll talk to the
Yeah, we'll
attorney.
talk to the attorney about it. Yep.
this. So that was, and Fred, I am told from my, what is it? VR?
Very reliable source. VRS.
My VRS that Fred was.
Or your
called
CI, your confidential informant.
Now I have to remember two acronyms.
I
Whatever.
feel like confidential informant's better.
Yeah. Well, I tend to say very reliable. I don't know why, and it's
Okay.
wicked annoying watching back. But Fred was a part of this. He was at that grand jury, and I'm told he did not testify. He did have an attorney, which obviously that's smart.
Which is another question for the attorney. So how do you get taken to a grand jury and then
How
you're
do
like,
you not
I'm just not
testify?
testifying?
Gonna testify?
I guess this must be we really have to dig into what an informational or an investigative grand jury is to learn what the
Yeah.
rights of the people that are like Fred being one
Maybe
of them.
We should have done our homework better.
No, that's what the attorney's for. So that's one of the
I could do all the homework in the world, but then I'm gonna totally misspeak. We need the attorney on, and we will have him on as needed.
Yeah.
Maybe next episode we could have him.
That would be great.
Have him on.
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave that about Fred, and again, no one's saying anyone did anything. Everyone's presumed innocent till.
But
They
you
are
have to look.
charged.
You have to look at the discrepancies, whether
And I think
it's human error,
proximity was
anxiety,
huge.
all that.
And I think
This
proximity
alibi
is a
is-
real issue in really taking a hard look at Fred.
Yeah.
And no one's on leave.
Yeah. Nobody's sleeping at his house. You can't. You can say you were awake and the front window was open and it faces the door, and you didn't see anything, but that's not.
But not seeing someone leave him
A
in
tight
that kind of
alibi.
relationship with her is is no evidence at all about anything.
Right.
And then some of the discrepancies could be nerves, some of it could be. I mean, you decide. Leave a comment what you think. And again, everyone's presumed innocent. There has been no one charged in this case. And next time we will get into John. And John, I had the pleasure of speaking with.
Okay.
And I was really excited to talk to him. Very forthcoming, wonderful, just hearing him and really humanize Sue. And it was a really great experience and bittersweet.
And he had moved to Texas a
He had
couple
moved to
weeks
Texas,
before, and
yeah.
they were still talking.
They were
very much
talking and
involved.
possibly had some future plans, maybe. But I mean, it wasn't there yet, but they had a very strong connection per John.
It's almost like she made it out, like if she had gone.
Yeah. And I wish she did.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So that's it for today. We'll get into John next time. And then
I'll do
maybe-
my brief synopsis again. We'll see if I can get all the facts right this time.
Yeah, we
I
can
think I
maybe
did
go.
pretty good.
We can maybe do it every other, or just get it even like narrow it down a little bit, just so we can get right into it and give you just get right into what we're doing next. But maybe next time we'll have, if we can get our attorney on next time to go over a couple things.
So we talked about, just to kind of wrap it up in a tight little bow, we talked about Mark. We talked about a couple of the little like dating things, the workplace dating things.
Nope, that's it.
We talked about
Al.
We talked about the one, which the one in the credit card ring,
Oh, Robert Brooks.
Robert Brooks.
Yeah. We talked about a supervisor that
Yeah,
It-
workplace
someone
things. I
said.
kind of chalk that up to workplace
Yeah.
things. So Mark was kind of in the past. The workplace things were sprinkled throughout, but nothing huge. And then there was Al, Fred,
Yeah, and interesting enough.
and then what's the one that was you just told me? Fred?
Oh,
No.
this,
The one that was Robert Brooks.
oh, Robert Brooks.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about him.
And I know for sure Al and Mark went to her services. I do not know if Fred did. To John, he did not, and that's one of his biggest regrets.
Because he was out in Texas and he just
He was in Texas, and his father was very stern that he shouldn't go up. And he came up about a month later,
I understand. I mean, I understand,
and he was so regretful about that.
Yeah.
But I understand.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
So next episode, hopefully, maybe we'll have the attorney on to answer a couple little questions that we can kind of just
Yeah.
plug that in every once in a while.
And he's definitely going to come on at a later date to go over the USA versus Robert Brooks court case, because you guys are going to find that incredibly interesting what went down there.
Yeah.
When they were trying to, well, when he perjured himself, when they were trying to get him to flip on Nuzzo again.
And it was a proffer. He perjured himself in a
in a federal proffer, and we'll have the attorney.
We'll have the attorney
that
explain
to you.
that. Yeah, I only know that stuff because the Karen Reed,
Karen
the Karen Reed case. So I'm not trying to act like I.
All right, we are at time.
Yeah. Sorry. What time?
Thank you for watching.
Like,
again.
subscribe. Don't forget about the drawing. If you're a new subscriber, drop a comment and a like after you've watched an episode. You will automatically be entered. Subscribe to the channel, YouTube, Spotify, Apple
Podcast,
iHeartRadio,
iHeartRadio.
and we're on all the social medias.
If you have any questions,
Twitter,
we'll be
X.
happy to answer if we can. And thank you for joining us. And cheers to
Sue and
staying
staying alive.
alive.
And we'll see you Tuesday on Wicked Honest.
regular show, crazy show.
Bye.
Bye.